Keeping the peace during a road trip with toddlers can require a lot of work up front. However, if your biggest goal is to have a peaceful trip, then it may be worth it for you to put in more work up front with a 5-step plan based on behavioral science. Screaming, crying, kicking the back of your seat, throwing food, fighting with a sibling, trying to unbuckle their seatbelt, repeatedly asking if you're almost there. These nightmares are real, and there's only so many times that you can hand out snacks and ask them to stay in their seat. So what's a parent to do? I'm Tanya, and I'm a behavior analyst. I help parents use behavioral strategies based on science in order to help them manage their toddlers' difficult behaviors. So back to the road trip. If you want a peaceful road trip, I suggest these 5 things to make your life a little bit easier. Number 1, you want to provide choices whenever possible. This is before the trip and during the trip. What I mean by before the trip is, hey, we're going to take some toys in the car. Do you want this bag or this bag? Do you want to put the bag in the car, or do you want me to put the bag in the car? I mean, these are simple choices that they can make. Obviously, the obvious ones would be, do you want this book or this book? Do you want that toy or that toy? But adding in those unusual choices that they don't often get to make, like, do you want this bag or this bag? Do you want to put it in there? Do you want me to put it in there? Helps add a little bit of excitement to the trip. Anything that's different is exciting to toddlers. They don't care. They just think it's fun. It's different. They're excited about it. And it also gives them a little bit of control. For example, while you're getting in the car for the road trip, do you want to buckle yourself in, or do you want me to buckle you in? Do you want your shoes on, or do you want your shoes off? I don't know. Do you want your shirt on, or do you want your shirt off? Whatever they've got to do to get comfortable. And again, the more choices you give them, the more control they're going to feel they have. And obviously, if they're more in control, they tend to be happier. I think we all know that about toddlers. So it's going to make your road trip a little bit more peaceful, even throughout the road trip. Do you want daddy to help you go potty at the rest stop, or do you want mommy? Any choice that you can think of that you don't usually give, get creative with it. I say plan ahead of time. Write a list if you have to. I know that's silly and you're gonna roll your eyes, but I'm the kind of person that would, because if not, I'm gonna forget. And again, if my goal is for a peaceful road trip, I'm gonna prep for it. The second tip that I have is for you to remove 3 to 4 favorite snacks or activities or toys, whatever it is that your child has that you're planning on taking with you, probably like 3 to 4 days before you actually leave on your road trip. This is to increase the value of those things. They're already favorites, so imagine if they haven't seen them in a couple of days, they're a lot more likely to engage with those things for a longer period of time once they actually get to the car and the road trip starts. Which means it'll be a lot longer before they start asking you how long it's going to be until they get there, and that they're bored and don't want anything to do with anything. Third tip is to say yes instead of no. You should definitely say no to your toddler. I'm not one of those people. However, if you think about it, road trips are stressful for everybody. You, your toddler, siblings, pets if you're taking them. And in the middle of a stressful situation, your toddler is probably off of their normal routine, so that's going to throw them off. They're stuck in one place. They can't really move around very much. It's limited, so that stresses them out. Their entertainment is limited, also stresses them out. And so hearing no a lot is just going to contribute to that. So you can be strategic about it and say yes. And what I mean by yes is, yes, you can have the goldfish. We've just got to do dinner first. Look here, it's the GPS. This is where we are. This is the restaurant, whatever exit you're getting off at. As soon as we get here, we're going to eat dinner, and then I've got all of these goldfish for you to eat. Sounded excited about it. You're not saying no, you're saying yes, so it's harder to argue with you, but it's still technically a no. You could also say, yes, you can watch The Lion King. I'm dating myself. Kids these days don't watch The Lion King, do they? What should we say? Encanto? That's a new one. Yes, you can watch Encanto as soon as your tablet is finished charging. Because if you're on an extra long road trip, you're gonna need time to charge it. Hopefully you remember to while they're napping, but maybe they're extra stubborn and they haven't napped, and that's just the reality of the situation. But that's why you planned for it, right? And you set some things aside. You're prepped. You've got activities, you've got toys, you've got games. You can wait. Which leads me into the fourth tip that I've got, which is to be creative with your games and your activities. Pinterest it. I do it all the time, and not just for road trips. It's good to keep new things moving along, and if you can find easy, I don't know, crafts or just playing games, ideas that you can do while you're in the car with your toddler, if you can present those things just when they're starting to get a little extra fidgety, a little extra whiny, and you know that it could turn into a tantrum, present these things before the tantrum happens. This is why you kind of have to be really aware during the road trip. It's a little extra work, but again, if your goal is to be a little bit more peaceful, avoid those tantrums and the all-out screaming, then it might be worth it to you to pay attention to those cues that your child is going to engage in so that you know, oh yeah, let me reach into this bag that I've got up front with me that has all the real goodies in it. Again, it doesn't have to be involved. I usually don't suggest that you get activities with a whole lot of pieces in them because they're just going to fall everywhere and your toddler may even decide they want to throw them. So the simpler you can keep it, the better. But it is important to have some novel games and activities if you can. And my last tip is to plan ahead to stop at rest stops for 5 to 15 minutes. Yeah, I said 15 minutes. And here's why. It's best to let them get their energy out. And if you can do it for a longer period of time, it's gonna help you longer. If you just do it briefly, they'll recover from it very quickly once you get back in the car, and then within 5 minutes, you're gonna hear it from them again. But if you've got a good 10 to 15 minutes to throw a Frisbee, a really popular one is to take a beach ball because you can kick that around, you can throw it. It's not going to hurt anything if it hits somebody else's car, but you can blow it up and then deflate it before you get back in the car. So it's an easy activity to take with you that's going to help get some energy out, which helps everyone. Comment below if you have any fun activities that you use in the car or at rest stops with your toddler or have used in the past. Parents helping parents is what we're all about here, and anything that we can do to help make your lives a bit more peaceful in the chaos is what we're here for. Now, you might be skeptical and pretty positive that you're going to end up yelling at your toddler, depending on the length of the trip, how far it descends into chaos. You never know. However, if you do yell, and it's okay if you do, you can't be perfect at all times, you should probably check out this next video I've got that has the biggest mistake that parents tend to make that tends to make things worse. So at least if you can avoid that, you'll be good to go. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this gets a little more peaceful parenting into your life. Check out my other videos for other tips if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you later.